Meeting will please come to order. Counselor Austin, would you please say the blessing?
Lord, thank you for bringing us together, and we ask that you help us to always remember that we are here for a reason, and that's to represent the Cherokee people. And we ask that you always give us the proper guidance, and that we receive that guidance well. Lord, we ask for you to protect the men and women who serve us in the military, and we ask that you protect the good folks who've been involved in the recovery of the children in Thailand. In your name, amen. Amen.
Mary Baker Shaw. Present. Mike Robbins.
Here.
Will England.
Honey.
Keith Austin.
Here.
Harley Dozier.
Yeah.
Joe Bird.
Honey.
Tom Crittenden.
Honey.
Becky Hargis. Wanda Hatfield. Rich Jordan.
Here.
Dick Lowe.
Honey.
Mike Shambaugh.
Here.
Leo Smith.
Here.
Denise Taylor. David Walking-Stick. Brian Warner.
Honey.
We have a forum.
Thank you. Has everybody had time to read the minutes from our previous meeting? I'd entertain a motion for its approval. Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All those disapprove? Motion carries. Okay, we'll have our first report. Claremore Service Unit, George. Good morning. Or good afternoon, excuse me.
Just a couple things. We've had a couple dental students coming through our dental clinic. We had sent a dentist down to Baylor University for 2 years to be trained as a pediatric dentist. Our previous pediatric dentist retired, and they're really expensive to hire, and it was actually cheaper to send one down and grow my own down at Baylor. So he is returned, and he will start seeing patients next week. So that's a good deal. Now we have I'm getting ready to send another dentist, not down to pediatric school, but to endodontic training for a couple of years. So we're trying to expand and increase the services there in our dental clinic. We've had some folks come through our anticoagulation clinic and learn how to be providers there. They've gone through that training. We are trying to expand and remodel in the dental clinic. We've put all new chairs in last fall, and now we're putting new cabinetry all through the dental clinic. And again, we're still working on the emergency room expansion. There was some issues there with the smoke barriers, and we're going to have to go back and remediate a couple of those things and that weren't done up to code on some previous remodels before my time. So we're going to get those caught up, and then we can move forward with the ER remodel. Any questions?
I have one. Oh, I'm sorry. Anybody have any questions? I have one. On the endodontics, right now, presently, what services are provided by the dental division?
Just a general dental work. They'll fill and pull teeth. Pretty much it.
So this is a big step to go into
It is.
endodontics. That's
It is.
wonderful. That's wonderful. I did have one question, George. Orthopedic patients are being sent to the ortho group in Oklahoma City. Why Oklahoma City and not Tulsa?
That contract is an area-wide contract at the contract health office and area office had negotiated and put in place for all the facilities. There was talk that they were going to try to get a provider in Tulsa as an extension of that contract. that fell through. Right now, we're sending all of ours to Tulsa. There was a cap put on the number of patients that are sent to Oklahoma City, and we've exceeded that cap as an area, so we're not sending anybody to Oklahoma City. Everybody that comes through is being sent to Tulsa. So I understand that, or I'm told anyway, that that a new contract will be in place in Oklahoma City starting August 1st, I believe. And I'm still holding out hope that we can find a provider in Tulsa under that same umbrella to see our patients here. And Pawnee's in the same boat. They don't like sending their patients to Oklahoma City.
Thank you for that. Are there any further questions of George? George, thank you for coming today.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
You survived the weekend, right?
Barely.
You did good.
Okay, Dr. Charles Green. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I have a couple of documents that I'd like to hand out to you to discuss. First one is our recruitment report that we always bring to you, the latest version of. I'll wait till everyone gets that in their hands. There's some good, very, very good things to report about that today. So the good news is there are 12 new physicians starting. You can see the dates there and the locations that they'll be starting. We have 7 more in the process. You can see down there on pending candidates, and very excited about that. We have 2 new dentists that actually started today that are Cherokee and both IHS scholars. And then you can see down there on dental that we have a couple more that are going to be starting very soon, as soon as all of their paperwork is done. One of the interesting and great things is that we are almost totally full with either advanced practice registered nurses or physician's assistants and the slots that we have available for them. I think right now, I'm not sure we even have 1 vacancy right now, but we've been going between, just 1 or 2 vacancies, and so we've been doing a great job of keeping all those positions filled. So that is one of the, I think, best reports that we've had in a long time on that. And if anyone has any questions about that, either myself or and Stephanie's here, we'll take them. And if not, I have one more thing I want to discuss real quickly. All right, I'll hand that out then. This is about medical marijuana. A little more controversial topic, perhaps. I'll wait till folks get this in their hands too, and I'll explain what it is. And
Dr. Graham, if we need someone to go out, I've got about 6 constituents that are after me to rent property or sell it to us.
we've had a few phone calls ourselves, not about that, but about how we're going to handle it. And so I wanted to, it's been discussed, I wanted to make you all aware about it today, hand you out this guidance. And I know a lot of people watch this publicly, so it'll get the word out a little bit, and then I'll tell you what we'll be doing so that we can let our patients know. So what you have in your hand right now is guidance that came out from Indian Health Service back in 2011 when a number of states were starting to pass medical marijuana legislation. And sort of the key things to focus in on are that middle paragraph on the letter, that federal law specifically prohibits the use of marijuana under all but very controlled investigational circumstances, And at that time, the chief medical officer recommended that all IHS, tribal, and urban programs fully adhere and comply with the federal law. And then they list a number of words that leave no doubt by not prescribing, recommending, possessing, cultivating, processing, manufacturing, or distributing marijuana for medical or other purposes. And if you go to the second page that has all the bullets on it, and you can sort of read those at your leisure, but the one I'm going to call to your attention is that next to the last bullet on that page, where it says tribal annual funding agreements require the tribal entity to meet all applicable laws. The CSA is also applicable here, and that's the Federal Controlled Substances Act law. So not meeting federal statutes and regulations would put any provider outside the scope of his or her employment, and as a consequence, the provider would not be covered under the Federal Tort Claims Act. And as you know, that is where we get the majority of our malpractice coverage for our providers is through that law. We discussed this in our medical executive committee this past week. We met with them on Tuesday, the day before the 4th of July, and it was discussed. This letter came up both in the Pharmacy and Therapeutics Committee meeting we had, as well as the Executive Medical Committee. And one of the bigger concerns did we even feel like it was the demand that it might place on our providers when we currently are having just trouble getting people in for regular primary care visits. This is essentially would be considered opening up a whole new line of service, if you will, to do this. And so they were not really prepared to do that from a busyness standpoint. The law says right now that we're not able to do that, and would put us in sort of direct conflict with what Indian Health Service recommendations are, even to tribal programs under 638 contracts or compacts. So we will be providing, I think I will be the one writing an email out to all of our facilities that gives them that guidance, and we already talked about it in Medical Executive Committee, so they know about it, because the State Board of Health will be meeting tomorrow and considering the rules on it. And so we'll get that guidance out to all of our facilities as soon as we can, and depending on how many patients ask and things like that, if it becomes very popular to start questioning it, we could put signage up in our facilities that states that, so people know right up front, that we're not going to be recommending it, discussing it as a treatment option, nor will we be paying for it or recommending anyone go to CHS, through CHS to another provider that would be able or willing to prescribe it. So basically there will be no way through our system to do this, and I'm not sure what other tribes are doing yet. It's still too early to know. I'm sure some of them have already decided or are discussing it currently, but we've had discussions, and that's how we'll be handling it. So if there are any questions on that, I'm willing to take those right now too.
Any questions? Yes, Counselor Austin.
How will we handle it as an employer?
That one's not my department exactly, so I'll defer that one to HR, to see how they'll be handling it, because it is possible that people are going to have prescription, or it's not a prescription, it's a recommendation, and then they have to go through the process to get it. But that'll be HR decision.
Yeah, I've talked to quite a few employers who are really concerned about the ability to manage that.
I concur.
Anyone else with any questions? Counselor Hatfield.
What is your opinion? What do you feel about that type of treatment, you personally?
I learned long ago when I was in a political position to not give personal opinions. So the opinion of our health system is you know, and I agree with that, the opinion of our health system, that we won't be providing it. And I don't know enough about the science behind it to really give you an answer there. Some of our docs say there's not enough science behind it to determine what, you know, exactly what you could use it for. And the way the state of Oklahoma law is written, there are no restrictions on what you can give it for. So it leaves it to the provider and the patient to make that determination. So,
Have you ever experienced or witnessed or the use to help a patient?
I have not. You know, I've not been. I don't know that I've been in any states and know any providers that have done it to see how, you know, how it works, how effective it is.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Counselor Warner. Oh, I'm sorry, Counselor
Now, are
Crittenden.
you guys still discussing the marijuana before we get into other things?
Any other marijuana questions?
Without naming names, have you heard, are there any other tribes looking to get into it?
I have not heard. I thought I might ask 5 tribe meeting is coming up. I thought I might ask the health directors of the 5 tribes that usually attend that meeting whether they're considering it medically, not prescribing, but to recommend it within their system. I would be surprised if any of them are, though, just because of this guidance from IHS. And I've not heard nor talked with any of them about whether they're considering it for commercial reasons.
Any other marijuana questions? I just have one comment. Wouldn't you think that the legalization of marijuana medically would help alleviate the opioid problem that we're presently experiencing?
I don't know enough to answer that question. And if there's science behind that about using it either for substitution or for pain relief, I'm just not aware of it. And unfortunately, with the current guidance, from IHS, and I did talk to multiple people in IHS, they have locations in 35 different states. I can't remember how many states now have it medically. I want to say 26 or 29, something like that. So it clearly has overlapped with them for a much longer period than it has with us. And they still, in fact, whenever the Oklahoma law passed, that guidance that you have before you right now got sent out again, IHS-wide, to remind people that the 2011 letter is still, the guidance from headquarters. So, right now, no Indian Health Service locations are doing it, and I don't actually know if any tribal ones are in all those states that have it medically. I've not kept up with that. So,
okay, thank you. Other questions? Counselor Crittenden?
Yeah. Dr. Grimm, first off, I thank you for answering your phone, and you've been real good, and I appreciate you doing that. And of course, every day is a new day here, as we all know. With the dental situation going on at Wilma P, it's unfortunate for all of us. You've been good. If I'd call you, someone needs a ride or having problems, I appreciate that communication. I was wondering, the folks in my area, it's a hardship, and nobody's pointing fingers at anybody. I'm not going to take credit for this idea. Some of my friends here on council, we were talking about it, and we discussed maybe a modular building, in the meantime, looking into what that might cost. We've got modular buildings for a whole lot of things, and I think that would be a good thing to look into. And if you don't mind, just let me know kind of if that's something that you've considered already, or we could look into. I appreciate that.
That's more than likely what we're going to do for some services on campus there that we won't be able to move over into the new side of the facility to house. We'll probably have some modular buildings to do some of those services. It's a little harder with dental because of the plumbing and all that sort of thing, and we haven't normally done it like that when we've had a situation like this, but we will look into it because you've asked. We'll see, what the cost is, the feasibility. It may or may not be able to be as big and as many operatories as you currently have, just because of usually the way modular buildings are, but we might be able to do something. We'll look into it.
Appreciate that. I feel like that'd be the fair thing to look into for the folks. Had a constituent, a really nice guy, had some questions. I said, just text me your questions so I get them exact. And they're in question form. Really good idea what he's talking about here. He's talking about a website. And, but you go ahead and just, his question is, and we can get into turning this around to kind of what we can do. But why does the largest tribal health system have so little information about how it functions and who works in it? And he's leading up to a website, I'm sure, kind of more information. Seems to be, why is everything our healthcare system spread across the interweb and buried on another website? And I tried to text him. I assume he's talking about the Cherokee Nation website.
Probably.
And, it's more information, the better. And just here last, he's wanting a dedicated interactive website with instructions on how to make appointments for each service area, maps to each clinic, phone directory to specific departments, and staff listed. Just all in all, I like his questions about, the more information, the better. And can you look at kind of that, or if something's in the process of getting put together?
Yeah, we can look into it. And I know we have rules, within the tribe about our web development and things like that. And I'm not an expert on them at all. But we'll look and see if we can do anything about that. I mean, I understand where he's coming from. I also will say that, the health system in our new electronic health record has a portal, patient portal, that once a patient's enrolled in our system, they get information on how to sign into that portal. Right now, they can go in and look at certain parts of their record, look up their lab tests, things like that. Very soon we would like to get it where they can go online and be able to make appointments directly through that patient portal. So that patient portal is going to have some of the stuff, and it's available right now. Just we don't yet have 100% of the true functionality of it turned on yet, and we've talked about at a very recent meeting what we're going to continue to make available over the course of this year, and so part of that will be there. That doesn't have some of the other things he was asking for, about services. We do post general services, I think, online by facility that are available, but we don't have, I don't believe, a full listing of every single employee and their phone number, within where it talks about a particular clinic on our web. So those are all good ideas. I agree,
Right.
and we'll see what we can do. I do believe we post the main clinic phone number, but
And
figuring out where somebody works is not easy if you don't know where they work, if you're wanting to get a hold of somebody.
you're just now digging your heels in. It hadn't been that long since you've been the head guy. And of course, in this world we live in, everything, you can find out if they're going to be rolling a ball or turning over a card on our casinos, who's going to be there, when. So I have faith that you'll look into that, and I agree with this guy. I mean, the more information, the better, and I appreciate you looking into those couple things.
Yes, sir, will do.
Thank you.
Counselor Lay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Doctor, we'll go back to the clinic.
Yes, sir.
You just laid that down in front of us, and I didn't have a chance to.
I know, I hate it that I do that, but it's, it's the latest one we try to get you, and there were some changes even as of this morning. So go ahead with your question.
This is good. I also like the other thing we used to do, we had the clinic separated out so we could see where we were clinic by clinic. But when it says new professionals and start date, without naming names or anything, so those are essentially are online and will be there at this.
Yeah, the ones, unless something, beyond, current comprehension occurs, but yes, so that top list are the current dates those folks are scheduled to start.
Those things have changed from time to time.
They do occasionally. Something will happen at the last minute, and that's why I always throw that proviso in. I've also been in political positions long enough to be very careful what I say and how I say it.
If you promise me, I expect you.
And I didn't make a promise. I just said, right now, without anything unforeseen happening, these are accurate.
And the one below it, pending candidates, is that somebody we're talking to, or?
Many of those people, and I'll let Stephanie, many of those people have already been given letters of consideration and are as committed as those things make us to them and them to us. Those can be backed out of. But Stephanie, anything you want to add to that?
Those are just people who may have not been noticed to their employer, to the current employer. They may have not received approval at this point, but everything is going forward for them to start.
So the appearances are they're going to come to us.
Yes, they have signed the LOC, they've done their application, they're somewhere in the process, HR, credentialing, waiting approval, waiting to give their current employer notice. That's why it's confidential, because until we get through there, we're not close to that final stage.
Thank you. And on the recruitment highlighted activity, we've got 2 new dentists starting today.
Yes.
Where will they start?
We went to Benita and Salisal.
Oh, sure, Benita first. And well, I'll talk to you later. And thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, Dr. Grimm,
Yes, sir.
with the new facility in progress, we've advertised for some positions already, correct?
Not yet. We're getting some job descriptions approved of ones that we would like to get started like immediately. And so there are a few that we are on the cusp of getting ready to advertise. And we are going to be approaching Indian Health Service to ask for some early staffing funding so that we can hire a much larger number prior to that facility opening. That is a process that we've been talking with them about for some time. We still are going to have to continue to work with Congress on it, make sure they're okay with that new money that's coming out. But and I don't remember off the top of my head, but I'm going to say there's in excess of 30 or 40 people on that list of people that we would like to hire months earlier than the facility opens. Part of our ability to hire those, number one, is contingent upon us being able to get that early money. That money is in the 2019 budget. The IHS put it there. All appearances are that Congress will pass it, has passed it in different bills, but not completed their final budget yet for 2019. But we're continuing to work with them on that. The problem is us having space to put people that we hire early when we can't yet get into that facility. So that'll limit a little bit how many people we can hire. And I think I have told this group before, but it bears repeating. There's about 850 new positions over the ones that we will move over there immediately, and that number is approximately 400 that we'll move over immediately. But we feel like some of those positions that we need early, we need to help us get it open also. We need more IT people, we need more facilities people. We need some nursing supervisors. We need certain positions like that. Then with IHS, the way they consider when you get a place fully staffed, or what their expectations are, it is roughly a 10-year horizon from the time you start planning. They would like to see you have that thing fully open and operational about 10 years from there. So we started with 2015 planning data. So by 2025, they would say we want to see that facility fully staffed and fully operational to be consistent with what our expectations would be were at one of our facilities. I am quite certain that we will have that place fully staffed and operational, much sooner than 2025. But, people always ask me, where are you going to find 800 people, and we're doing a lot of things, and we're working with a lot of departments. That bears mentioning. We've held multiple meetings with, and I hesitate to mention them all since I don't start mentioning any because I'll probably forget one, but all the key departments within the tribe are working very hard to plan with us the ability to start hiring those people as soon as we can, or to start training some, through various kinds of career services sort of programs. But I'm giving us 3 years, maybe 3 to 5 years, and I think we will have those positions filled. We won't have them filled, on day one, but with the people that we're moving over and some of those that we want to hire early, we could start operations, because we'll be moving over every existing ambulatory program. So those will be able to begin operations, hopefully with little notice of the patients under, with the exception they're going to a brand new building and facility. But the ones that are new services, almost all of our services are expanded. So we have room to grow with additional staffing, but they will open with existing staff. And then the new services will start, determining when to open and how to roll those out too. I doubt that very few of those will open on day one. Whenever we, open the doors, those will be, timed and phased to open at different times based on recruitment and a number of things.
But with the shortage of health professionals, how are we going to compete with other tribes or the state? There's already a shortage of physicians and health professionals. How are we going to compete with the salaries? Are we going to be able to do that?
We are, and that's one of the things we're looking at right now too with HR and with finance is, right now we're at the summer of 2018. We think in the late summer, sometime in the July, August, September timeframe is when, if everything again stays on track, that we would be able to open this new facility. And so we're looking sort of out at, our salaries are what we set almost a year ago now going to be sufficient for all of the different categories that we have to be able to draw people. And so we're looking at it. I'm sure we're going to adjust some of them upward. I can't tell you which ones right now. If they seem consistent, then they would be acceptable. We'll leave them the same and we'll wait and see. I do know that a number of people around us, including federal sites, like George with Claremore and others, are a little concerned because this is a brand new, beautiful facility, going to have a lot of great services. We are not going to go recruit people away from George, I'll tell you that right now, and I'll tell George that, and the Indian Health Service if they're listening. But I suspect we'll get people from other locations, that want to come, maybe Cherokee, want to come back to here, may want to come to a new facility with all the services. And so I think we're going to get some that way. And then we are looking very closely at options around scholarships and loan repayment and things that we can do that perhaps sometimes we have not done in the past, to try to get it staffed. It is going to be a challenge. I'm being positive because I'm an optimist. It's the way I look at the world. And I hope in 3 to 5 years we can tell you that it's fully operational. But we may bump up against some things when we start trying to get that many people. And we've talked about some contingencies. What if we had problems, doing direct hires? Well, we might contract with some specialty group, as an example, for one of these new specialties that we're going to have. We've had a few approach us and say, hey, we know you're opening this, if you want us to come help you, run this particular specialty service by sending people out there, we're willing to do that for you. So, we could look at that as an option. We might choose initially on all those specialties to look at some groups and just bring them in under contract so that we're associated with a larger group from a bigger city, so that we'd have that kind of support if we lost somebody. Over time, I think our goal might be to hire our own, or train our own once we get this medical school up and operational. But I can assure you we have a lot of good minds working on this from more than just the health department. So I want you all to be assured that it is a high priority to everyone in the tribe.
That's good news. But I'm a fairly competitive person, being the #1 tribe and the largest tribe. It doesn't bother me if we're going to be like the Lakers or the Warriors. We have to recruit,
I heard you.
because this is competitive stuff we're talking about.
I heard
We're
what
talking
you're
about
saying.
people's lives. So if you have to do that, then let the chips fall where they may.
Glad you guys are okay with that if that's what we end up having to do.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Council Crittenden?
Yes, sir. Dr. Grimm?
Yes, sir.
Not sure the right way or the right time to do this, but got some constituents like a lot of us do that with the 186, some of those folks, and they're asking questions, and I tell them I'll get an update, get you all the information I can, and that being my job, and those folks they're going through quite a ordeal here, and I think I want to know every little detail, update legally, and as legally as much as you can, and so I can go back to those folks and let them know that they voted me to this seat, and I can go back. We come up here twice a month to this council chambers. All of us are gathered here. We can't get together in a quorum anywhere else. I bump into somebody, one of these guys every now and then, Wanda, but I think that an executive session here, we could all discuss, get that information, what we can legally again, take it back to our constituents, and I'm going to make a motion that we go into executive session and get some information for our folks.
Do you second?
Second. What was the reason to go into executive session?
The reason is some of my constituents that's, the 186, as they should be. They're concerned and have many questions, and I ought to be able to take them back some updated info.
I think that applies.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, the ayes have it. Okay, so we will adjourn to go into executive session. Dr. Grimm and Talina, would you please stay present? I will entertain a motion to come out of executive session into general session.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, all those in favor?
We've already done that.
You have to do it on streaming video.
Okay.
So,
All those in
Sean
favor?
is the first and Steve is the second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
No votes were taken.
No votes have been taken. Okay, in executive session. Okay, Councilor Crittenden, do you have a new motion?
Yes. I'm gonna try this here. Like to make a motion. Go into
Okay.
executive session concerning employment and lots of things that fall underneath that.
Second.
Unemployment.
Can I
We have a
withdraw that?
motion on the
Lots of
floor.
things that I can see that I already got an eye roll concerning employment. Restated. Make a motion to go into executive session to speak of employment matters.
Okay, and do we have a second on the motion?
Second.
Okay, Counselor Austin, discussion.
Employment issues, that the person is no longer an employee. I just need that clarified.
Okay. I don't think we know at this point what the employment issue is, since we haven't gotten that far in executive session. Yes,
I was just told that the way I worded it a while ago
was incorrect.
was incorrect, so.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Can we please vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Aye.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Restate.
Shelley?
Yes.
Sean, do you realize that anything we discuss in executive session, you can't share with our constituents?
Sure.
So, I mean, if you're gonna ask their questions, we need to do that in this, without going into executive session.
I got personnel questions.
Personnel.
You interrupted him.
Okay, I just wanna make sure he.
Counselor Creighton, are you through? No, I have personnel
Yes,
questions.
and thank you, Frankie. Just, they'll be able to tell us what we can and can't say, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, anything we discuss in executive session can't be
I would
shared
love- I would-
outside of that.
I would love to discuss it out of executive session, but I know,
You can ask those questions without going into executive session. Any questions that are not answered, that cannot be answered regarding employment, then you can make a motion to go into executive session.
all right.
Okay, well, we have,
I wanna go to executive session.
Well, wait a minute, he made the motion though.
All right, second.
Yeah, but he still has the call. If you want to start asking questions, we're still in discussion. We're still in discussion. If you want to ask questions,
Okay.
then you can go as long as you want. We got a motion second on the floor.
Okay, so we can start discussing. All right.
Yes.
okay,
Doc-
Shelley, roll call vote.
Are you gonna pull your motion, or you wanna just?
Let's go ahead and go into executive session, and after that, if there's more questions we need to ask, we can ask them when we get back, right?
Yep.
All right,
Sean Crittenden,
yes.
Mike Dobbins,
Yes.
Frankie Hargis.
What?
What
Is it-
Hatfield?
I
I
don't,
didn't hear your name.
I didn't know. I don't know what I'm voting on. I'm sorry.
Whether
It's
to
on
go into
executive
executive
session.
I'm
session
going
now.
okay. Yes.
Rex Jordan,
No.
Dick White,
Yes.
Mike Shambaugh,
No.
Mary Bakershaw,
Yes.
Theo Smith,
No.
Denise Taylor,
No.
Victoria Vasquez,
No.
David Walkenstick,
Yes.
Brian Warner,
Yes.
Bill England,
Yes.
Keith Austin,
No.
Harley Buzzard,
Yes.
Joe Bird.
No.
We have 10 yes and 7 no, the motion carries.
I need a motion and a second to come out of executive session. So moved. Second has been made.
You did both.
All those in favor of coming out of executive session into a regular session, say, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Same sign. Okay, we are back into regular session, and I'd like for the record to state that there were no votes taken
Okay.
during executive session.
Nothing in old business.
Okay, anything in old business?
Nothing in new business.
Is Dr. Grimm in the room?
Yes.
Yes. Dr. Grimm, I need to ask one question, and that is, I have a, somebody has asked me to ask you, do we have a lactation consultant that can speak with someone that is not WIC, on our WIC program?
And I do not know the answer to that. I will find out. I do believe currently it is limited to WIC. That's where those are funded, and you have to be, qualified for the WIC program, but I'll find out.
Okay, I appreciate that. Is there anybody else with any questions for the other business?
No new business.
No new business?
Announcements.
Any announcements? Our next meeting will be August 13th at 1 p.m. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion adjourned.
Thank you.